Into Champ Select, gonna start seeing bans coming out. Shin Milk, like I said, is the only player I know. He plays a Mean Braum and a Thresh. So maybe we'll see those banned away, but I'm thinking we're just gonna see typical solo queue bans.
Sorry guys, just doing a little bit of last minute technical stuff real quick to get all that information out there.
Ziggs being banned, Tristana being banned on purple side. Tristana still a solo queue monster even after her latest range of nerfs. Ziggs, while not really overpowered, can definitely stall out games to the point where it's unfun to play against. And then Maokai, the super duper tanky tree. We can see him in the jungle or the top lane, really wherever he wants to be. And he just, once he starts rolling, he never stops. Just tanky all day long.
Yeah, very annoying in the top lane. I mean, ever since the whole meta of putting these kind of semi-AP tank split pushes up there, just a little bit of mana regen, a lot of life sustain coming out of him. Getting that Roa in there just makes it really, really, really hard to kind of burst through.
Speaking of burst, Zed being banned out, second on the purple side. He's still that ever-popular mid-lane assassin, just ready to pop your support and move on with his day. Fizz does the exact same thing with a bit more team disruption with the Shark attack. Both teams definitely taking their time with the ban phase. And then Jace is the last ban for purple team. Definitely not fun when playing against as a poke comp. Not a lot you can do besides just lose health. If you try to jump on him, he's just going to hammer you back, and definitely a bit troublesome. However, that does leave the first pick Rise available. Just super safe at every stage of the game, and once he gets rolling, becomes a monster. Just full tank, full damage, very hard to kill.
Will you do me a favor, Doctor, and just throw the overlays? Because we have some people in the chat real quick asking for the teams. It's Delta on the left and Echo on the right. Delta A and Echo A playing in this game. And yeah, the Rise pick. I heard him talking about it when we went through to talk about their teams. So he hasn't really played top lane Rise that much, but again, smash your face on the keyboard. Very safe pick. Able to farm at range, scales late, and has tons of gank assistance with this point and click stare at a decent range. So definitely a strong pick. Coming up from the purple team, as we talked about, Shinmilk's Thresh. Oh, not Shinmilk's Thresh actually being picked away, going to the purple team, and then a Corki being picked up. So very strong bot lane potential. A lot of burst coming out from the Phosphorus Bomb and those rockets, as well as his Gatling gun with the armor shred and the 2 damage on his Hectech Shrapnel. So we'll see if they can get that Corki snowballing and really get him going so the Rise doesn't have a chance to stack up that armor.
Yeah. Corki being picked away while Lucian is still available, that's definitely going to be a comfort pick. Lucian definitely the stronger AD carry of the two. Going to be interesting to see how that lane turns out.
Yeah, with the Alistar in there, a lot of sustain coming in for Lucian, but we're going to assume that's going to be an Alistar in the bottom lane as support, since that's typically where he's metally seen at this point after the nerfs him in the top lane. Going to provide plenty of assistance to the Thresh to really get him off. Yes, I have a little bit of pretzels in my mouth. Sorry, Doctor.
Aurelia to go against this Rise. That's going to be an interesting matchup. Rise is going to be able to poke her down early, and Aurelia's sustain is not that great in the early levels.
No, she definitely requires a couple points into her heightened style to really get that sustain coming up and the true damage going down. So Rise is able to bully her out a little bit, but Aurelia, of course, loves fighting from down a little bit HP, has no problem initiating him with a Blade Surge and an Equilibrium Strike to get that stun off. And if Rengar is able to put down some gank assistance into that top lane, Rise could be in for a long day.
With the, I'm guessing Jungle Rengar, it might take him a little while to visit that top lane though, and see if he can get that Aurelia rolling. Whereas the Kha'Zix on the other side is going to be able to get level 3 off his second buff and immediately go to lane.
Yeah, but one thing again we see from the blue team is, and we had a problem with these comps before, these kind of tankless comps that rely on the Rise to scale up into the late game. If he ends up getting behind, the blue team's going to have a really hard time initiating their fights. Yes, they have the Alistar, but his damage reduction is really, really, really dependent upon his ultimate. And if that 70% damage reduction is in there, I think the purple team's just going to really eat through the rest of the blue team, because Lucian, while being mobile, is a pretty easy AD carry once they get onto him between Aurelia, Thresh, and Rengar. Kha'Zix himself requires the resets to go down, so we'll see what they're able to do. That being said, the blue team already has a very nasty Wombo combo, and we'll see how the purple team is going to try and counter that with the mid lane pick here.
Yeah, ball delivery system with the cow. Definitely something we've seen played perfectly at the highest levels. It is CLG's strongest point, I would say. So it'll be fun to see how it works out here. And the Ahri pick into the Ori pick. That's going to be interesting to see. Both hitting really big spikes at level 6. Ahri's going to have to really turn on the pressure to try and shut this Orianna down.
Yeah, Ahri has a lot of roaming my stutter is awful today. I apologize. A lot of roaming potential to match the Orianna with her dissonance to move around the map, and she also has the ability to use her ultimate to really just dodge out and use those dashes to really get around and away from the shockwave and away from those command attacks, and to kind of dodge out a lot of damage. So the Orianna is going to have to be really cognizant of where she decides to put her ball and when she decides to use her cooldowns in order to get on top of that Ahri.
Yeah, these mid to late game team fights are going to be really intense with the thresh hooks coming out, the ball delivery. There's going to be a lot going on in these team fights. That being said, we now hit our 3-minute delay. Who do you think is going to take it?
No, I think a lot of it hinges upon the top lane, because Aurelia getting going is going to put the purple team in a spot where they're just going to be initiate and create picks off the Aurelia blade surging into fights. Whereas if Rise is able to kind of hold his own in that lane and naturally get to a tanky spot, the blue team has the team fighting potential between the culling, between the ball delivery system on the cow, and the Kha'Zix resets to really put down a lot of damage and clean out the purple team. Whereas the purple team's more just pick oriented. You see a lot of single targets. You see the Rengar Bolas, the Death Sentence coming out from Thresh, the Charm from Ahri, Equilibrium Strike. There's no real big AoE CCs coming out. So I think the longer team fights will probably help out the purple team, but the positioning is going to have to be phenomenal to avoid the mass AoE damage coming out from the blue team.
Yeah, I mean, AoE seems to be the big flavor of the month. It definitely helps you win games. Purple team is also relatively low damage come late game. Yes, Ahri has the scaling true damage. Yes, Aurelia can become a monster with her also true damage. But Corki hits his mid-game spike and then just sort of peters out. And then depending on which Rengar we're going to see, if it is the full glass cannon damage Rengar, which, if that happens, it could end up even worse than a tank Rengar, because the full glass cannon, if he can't solo out the Lucian, then he's just going to get locked down and instantly killed, and then it's suddenly a 5v4. Whereas if he goes full tank Rengar, he might not have the damage to even kill Lucian at all while getting locked down and killed. So it's going to be interesting to see how Purple Team tries to work their early mid-game advantage.
Yeah, looking back at it now, the Rengar is going to have a hard time after probably about 15 to 20 minutes finding ways to really get these ganks off effectively, because if he's not catching out the Lucian and the Kha'Zix, it's going to be really tough for him to actually get the kills. Orianna is very capable of getting away from him, throwing down the shield, throwing down a shockwave to really self-peel for herself, then disonancing out of that situation. Also, of course, with the headbutt, Lucian with the dash away, Rise just able to throw down a snare. He's going to have a frozen heart in there to cut down on that attack speed. So, I mean, I feel like the purple team really has to snowball through the middle game into the late in order to win this game. But also, if they're able to just keep control over the Fog of War and create picks, their pick comp potential is limitless.
Yeah, a Thresh hook into a 5 Ferocity Rengar is going to be something to be worried about come that point. And then even the Ahri Charm. It's just they can layer that single target CC down on top of whoever they choose, but unless it's a Lucian, pretty much, they're going to have a really hard time making sure it counts.
And it looks like we're finally getting into the Rift. We'll see what we have for the skins, and while that's going on, I need to update our title since we're no longer on launch night.
Hot Rod Corky just hit the sale the other day. Definitely a good one. Corky's probably one of my favorite 80 carries. I have just about every skin but that one. Infiltrator Aurelia, another good one with the recently updated splash art. Not quite as good as Nightblade, but still definitely up there. Striker Lucian, Crystal Rise, Bleedcraft Orianna, and Infernal Alistar. Definitely some of the top skins for those champions. Skin war definitely going to blue team also.
Yeah, frankly, I'm a little disappointed with the representation of skins from the purple team right now. I mean, default Rengar is ugly, default Thresh is ugly, and I mean, Ahri just has a huge wealth of skins that... I mean, let's be honest, her boobs don't even look that nice in that skin.
I mean, Rengar does have an updated splash art on the PBE currently, which looks really nice. I believe Ahri does too, but unfortunately that's PBE, not live.
And it looks like I have game noises, but no video yet. We'll see. Oh, there we are.
There we go.
And good old Rito, we don't actually have to wait the traditional 50 seconds to a minute in order to actually play. We get right in. We see the items coming out. Mana Crystal from Rise, but no Biscuit, so he's not speccing that deep in the utility tree. I'd be interested to see what masteries he decided to run. That also shows me he's probably not that experienced of a Rise player if he's not speccing towards having the Biscuits and having that additional move speed and utility and mana regen, because that's just losing out on a lot of free stats from your passive.
I mean, yeah, those Biscuits definitely help a lot. The Mana Sustain, Charm landing onto Kalos now. Hook missing, Pulverize landing onto 4 members. Really nice. And this is early enough that they're going to be able to base, get that health back, and then go back and defend their jungler. Getting a Tribush Ward doesn't really mean that much.
No, and Soulcrafter really flexed his muscle there on Alistar right away with the 4-man Pulverize, saving Kalanzo from that pressure. I mean, that's impressive. Level 1 Alistar landing all of that, no problem, just going to walk away.
Yeah, not much really coming out from the red team, even though they did try that 5-man invade. Looking like they just wanted a nice quick cheese kill. Didn't get it, and they're just going to go back and start normal.
Alright, Twitch chat, let's get you guys involved. Type 1 if you think Team Delta is going to win, and type 2 if you think Team Echo is going to win, and type Kappa if you have no idea who's going to win. I've yet to see a gray face, I'm disappointed.
I've yet to see anything, really.
Yeah, well, a little bit of a delay coming across as well, and I'm assuming a lot of people will probably start just getting down into the games, and we see some votes coming down from the Delta team. Traditional starts coming across for both the junglers. Rengar taking a whole lot of damage, so is Kha'Zix. Both clear out their buffs at around the same time. Kha'Zix a little bit of an advantage in terms of HP and clear time right now, a little bit more of the built-in sustain. We'll see if Rengar decided to skill his W second or his Bull off for more damage. Skipping the Wraith Wolves and going straight over to Wraiths. And we'll have to keep an eye out in that top lane for the 3-minute gank and see who gets there first. Rengar putting down a defensive ward at the top of his red bush to make sure he doesn't get invaded, but Kha'Zix is going to have a huge advantage in terms of gank time. Already back over to his blue buff, jumping that wall right away. Doesn't have a point in Q, which is interesting in terms of his level 2. Typically I would go W and Q for this speed, but decides to take his leap and hop that wall. Really low, finishing off that blue buff though.
Claw's now eating a lot of poke, but stacking the minions against himself. And although he dodges the hook, eats yet another phosphorus bomb. He's forced to burn his health potion, while Corky's still relatively healthy and still has his. A nice charm on the Filthy Nate. Damage coming down, however, no mana on the Orianna. Definitely just going to walk away from that one. And like I said, lots of poke on this Orianna. Shinmilk's really starting to do damage there.
Yeah, and however, Rengar coming right on the top for that 3-minute gank like we were talking about, but that is a huge stack of minions. If he gets minion aggro, that is going to
He eats a lot of damage, decides to bola instead of healing himself, goes down at the level 2 mark, giving away double buffs to Rise. That's going to be very disastrous. Eats a tower shot.
A tough lane for the Aurelia, but I mean, as soon as he saw the stack of minions, in
red buff flash, auto attack, and that's the kill going to Rise.
Not necessarily sure he had to flash it. I think the burn might have had it anyway, but no problem picking up the 2-0. That's what flash is for, guaranteeing the kills, though it might have been a little greedy. And again, that was the danger. Sunny used the empowering bullet to get off the stun, but not really aware of his HP, and also the fact that he decided to fight a Rengar and just a massive minion win.
Hook lands on a Soul Crafter and a Phosphorus Bomb. Just gonna heal up with the Roar. Targon stack for a little bit extra health too.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that the blue team does have going for them in the bottom lane. Soulcrafter's Alistar is going to be able to provide a lot more sustain coming out from his Triumphant Roar. And just the fact that Thresh is reliant upon... No, he did not take the Relic Shield, so there's no sustain in the bot lane other than the Lifesteal and the pot on the Corki. So Lucian should have no problem just chilling in lane, farming up, and that's what he's going to do. He's actually up 3 CS right now with the lane pushing towards him.
Yeah, Thresh definitely going for that early Sightstone. Wants to make sure he doesn't get ganked by this Kha'Zix, or even the Orianna for that matter. Trying to keep his lane safe. He's going to be able to pick that up really quickly.
Yeah, epic set for the win. You can't just ask for shoutouts. You have to earn your shoutouts, friend. But there you go. You got the...
nice hook on the Kalonzo. Flay coming in a little bit late, however, and not even in the right direction. Misses on the Lucian.
Yeah, an interesting decision to even blow that cooldown at that point, because after the hook came down, you got the piercing light. It's not like any extra damage was coming down anyway, or you got the phosphorus bomb, excuse me. So just it seemed like a waste of a cooldown, and right now with Kha'Zix sneaking out, that could cost him.
Kha'Zix knows he's there, but they're just going to be able to walk away. No real CC coming in from the Alistar, just out of headbutt range. Just letting him know that, hey, I'm Kha'Zix, I'm around, be safe.
Yeah, and they should have caught him rotating down. I think he was just still in sight of the minions there. Blue team's Pinia that's missing. There might be a ward in there. There is no red ward, and Ari Spirit Rush is it.
Charm misses the exhaust coming down. Lots of damage with the ignite. Kha'Zix coming in from behind Ari now that she has no more Spirit Rush charges, but he's a little too late there.
Yeah, and if that charm had hit, I think that definitely would have been a dead Orianna with the exhaust coming out a little bit later in the Art of the Deception, having that damage amplification on her. But that being said, exhaust being burned for the ignite, pretty even trade going out there. But Orianna will be forced out of lane, and you see Ari is now picking up an 11 CS lead over her.
Kha'Zix blowing his jump cooldown, thinking he was dodging a charm. Wasn't even thrown out, however. A flash pulverized onto the Thresh, headbutted into tower range, gets the flash. Hook misses, dash lands into the flight, exhaust coming out onto both 80 carries. The Valkyrie coming out from Corki, teleport coming down from the Aurelia. Gonna throw down the dash.
Stun anybody up.
Headbutted into tower, but not enough in range. Flay misses from the Thresh, just gonna walk away. And that's a teleport burned, and Rise is having free reign up in this top lane now.
Yeah, Aurelia really looking to try and force the play, but one thing you need to know is that Equilibrium Check, you have to be a lower percentage of HP than your target to come in and stun them. Coming in at full HP, when she Blade Surge and E down, there's no stun, and Thresh wasn't able to follow up with a hook or a flay to really get them anywhere in the damage. So in the end, she burns a really long cooldown for teleporting to a minion. That's 5 minutes on that teleport now, and she loses a ton of farm in the top lane. She's down over 35 farm and 2 kills. She's giving up effectively almost 1.2k gold right now to this Rise.
Hook just
and looking
missing
at the
on
gold
the
earned,
Lucian.
it's actually 1.3k now because of the farm advantage. So.
And this Corki is able to put down a lot of harass. However, Kha'Zix's coming in, gets the slow from the Void Spikes. No follow-up, and Corki's just going to Lantern away to safety. Ahri picking up her blue buff. She's really going to be able to put down a lot of damage onto this Orianna now, sitting at less than half mana with no blue buff.
Yeah, she has the Chalice, but the extra MR is going to help. It's going to be tough for the Ahri to kill her at the moment because she hasn't gone back and buy. That being said, she's going back right now with 2,200 gold, so she should have enough to pick up a needlessly large. Oh no, she's just going for that Athens build on Ahri. She's going to play a little bit safe, expecting for a longer lane phase.
Equilibrium Strike coming down onto Shinmilk. He's taking a lot of minion harass here. Gets less than half health. However, he has his ultimate, he has potions, and the catalyst. I'm thinking he'll be right back in no time.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of a misplay on Shinmilk's part right now. He should be doing better to try and freeze this more down into the right by his turret. By pushing the lane up, he's kind of allowing Aurelia to just free farm, when in all reality, he could be zoning her a lot more effectively right now with his lead.
Rengar hitting 6 off his white camp, where he'll probably base, or he hits 7 off the white camp, my bad. He's going to look for that gank, but sitting at only half health, he'll probably base first. Ahri coming in behind the Orianna, gets pinged out. Stream doesn't want to watch her, or is just going to walk away.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult for this Rengar to find a gank right now, especially at his HP. We saw he wasn't really exactly cognizant of his rage stack or his passive stacks and didn't use his heal effectively. And so if he doesn't do that again coming in on a gank, I see him being blown up right away, giving up another kill. And I think he's kind of aware of that and being more cautious this time, opting to kind of run around with the red buff in his jungle and just try and farm up. Because if he's looking to go aggressive, now would be the time to do it. With having his ultimate, with having level 7, with having the red buff on him, and instead he's just kind of running around and letting the end of this buff go to waste.
Headbutt Pulverize onto the Thresh. Box coming down, ultimate from Alistar also. Heal being burned by the Lucian though. Phosphorus Bomb not enough. Culling taking Corki really low. The ultimate ending for Soulcrafter though. Does he want to follow up? Lands a Headbutt and a Pulverize. More damage coming out from the Corki, however. Thresh goes down to a Piercing Light auto-attack combination. Rengar and Ahri are coming down. Rengar
His
ulted.
Ran out and walked into the wall, and actually now they walk back
Charm
over
misses.
Pink Ward. Yep, and they're both just going to get out of that alive. Soulcrafter did a really good job with his headbutt in that fight to knock the Thresh straight in the wall, to have long enough time to get that extra half-second stun for actually colliding with the terrain, to then walk in, get his Pulverize off, which had just come back off cooldown to guarantee Lucian the kill. And now you see the damage coming out. Lucian able to have his BF sword. He's sitting on about another 900 gold, so he's going to be able to pick up a pickaxe as well soon, whereas the Corki is stuck with just a Sheen right now.
Antfire is actually playing this lane really well. He's using his Blade Surge to get onto Shinmilk, who then throws out an Overload, giving him just enough to get that Equilibrium stun down.
Yeah, and you see the red team doing their best to try and protect these pink wards and protect their investment on the vision, which is very important, especially if they want to look to contest this dragon. With Lucian being a little bit stronger than there, they can use as much vision control as they can get their hands on right now. The big one hitting Lucian down there for a decent amount of damage, and here comes Rengar.
Powerful Ebola Strike, Spirit Rush from the Ahri, Flash Fail from Filthy Nate. Orb Reception is going to take that kill. However, Rengar is super duper low, eating a Q and a W from Orianna. Going to go down to Soulcrafter's auto attack, who now has Dragon aggro and stuck in the pit. Using his flash to get over the wall, he's going to go down. Corki's going to pick up the kill with an auto attack.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like they're just going to leave the dragon there, even though Lucian has no mana and the Ahri is half HP. They might have been able to force the situation there, but not being greedy. Alistar risking his life there, putting himself in an awkward situation. It looks like Shinmilk's going to force the Aurelia back out of lane. She has the teleport to come back up if she needs to, but right now she's just too low, and yep, there she goes.
are pushing the wave just in time to go pick up her blue buff. Sitting on 1300 gold, she's going to be able to base, finish off her Unholy Chalice, and maybe some boots or another Amp Tome, depending on what she decides she needs.
Well, it looks like she's actually going to push out one more wave, and I don't blame her with the Cannon Minute being there and her Orbit Deception almost clearing out that full back line. She's able to pick up every one of the CS in that wave, and it looks like it's almost enough for a needlessly large drive. She's going to get a couple more autos into the turret.
Kha'Zix is coming in. Headbutt Pulve onto the Thresh. Box coming down, slowing all three of them. The Flay coming out, decides that that's enough for the final bottom.
Yeah, that's a really well played by Johnny Truant right there, dropping down the box to hit all three members, and then also getting a Flay to knock away the Kha'Zix and the Alistair, the only ones who could really continue on the pursuit and keep that fight going, really discouraging them from going away. A ward, again, to spot out Filthy Nate on that bug and force him to go back in the jungle. And the ward coverage right now from both teams is pretty solid. Soulcrafter dropping down a pink to really clear out that tri-bush, but you see blue team has all the bot side warded, whereas red team just now losing that tri-bush where it looks a little bit darker on the map with only isolated bushes by their blue buff and the tri-bush ward.
A double Blade Surge gets him onto Shinmilk, however, eating a lot more harass in return, the ultimate not being used by Shinmilk, even.
Yeah, and this is the point in time where Rise just starts to go, I don't really care what you're doing, I'm going to do what I want. He has the road, he has full-blown stacking mode now.
I mean, the Roa itself is going to do a lot of work. I mean, even completely unstacked, it's very efficient. Gives you health, mana, AP, everything you want as a Rise player.
Yeah, and right now he's up about 1,400 gold on that Aurelia, so big difference coming down the top lane, and this is the battle we were talking about. We're really going to see where that matchup got tilted, because going in the middle and late game, that's going to be where a lot of the initiation is going to have to come down from. It's going to be Aurelia diving in the back line, or Rise walking up and throwing down his rotation.
Pink Ward in the Dragon Pit. It's going to give Red Team some vision there, but unless they can act on it, they might end up just losing the Pink Ward. Yeah, Ultimate being burned by Filthy Nate. Void Spike's coming down, getting the slow. Spirit Rush still being used. One more charge. Gets the Ignite down. Auto attacks. The W gonna land. Still has Charm available in 4 seconds. Flashes, but still gets hit up by the Shockwave. Porter Stussy coming in, lands the Ebola Strike, however, no damage from anyone else on his team because they decided to take the Pink Ward.
Alright, multiple misplays there from the red team. I mean, Echo could have done so many things differently. Ras, first of all, hits what I think is the first charm he's hit all game in the Kha'Zix. Did a good job to clean up that.
A good headbutt Pulve onto Dead Pocket. The Lantern being thrown down, but the Valkyrie away. Hook landing onto Lucian, but no Flay available to pull him into tower.
Instant canceling the culling right there. Going back to that last fight, the Ahri decided to flash back into the Shockwave. I'm not sure if she's trying to hop the wall or just trying to get right outside the animation, but Thresh had actually been walking over towards the wall to drop a Lantern, so she either could have flashed one of the two walls in the Dragon Pit or back in towards that solo bush. But instead she decided to eat the extra damage from the Orianna. Then, right after that, Rengar decided to use his empowered Ebola. As soon as he did that, he again lost all of the additional magic MR and the MR and armor that you get from your double.
Charm lands, Spirit Rush coming in, and that's enough to pick up the double kills back. Double kills, double buffs back.
And that's 2 charms in a row now for the Ahri after missing her first 8. So that's really, really, really solid on her part. But then again, Rengar misusing his passive stacks and not opting to heal himself up and getting that additional damage and tank stats down. So again, that's twice we've seen him go for the CC rather than getting down the additional damage or getting out the heal, both of which would have saved him and put him in a better situation.
This Pink Ward has actually missed 2 wards now. There's the one right by Corki, and there was the one in the back of the Dragon Pit that the Pink Ward didn't see either of them. So they knew the dragon was going down, and they got a ward down just in time to get the timer for it. So that means they're going to know when to come back and try and fight for the next one. This top lane still not being volatile. Headbutt, pulverize, box coming down, tower on to the Alistar. Doesn't really care. too much damage reduction. Another charm landing, double buffs, both parts of the Orb of Deception coming down. However, the Shockwave lands onto nobody, and now that that charm missed, Rengar was in a position to do something, but nothing to do.
Looks like he's going to try and swing down the bot lane and punish this push right now, but I think Soulcrafter and Colons are just going to get out of that no problem. Really good job by that bot lane pair right now. They're looking, honestly, probably the most impressive on the map. Ari's starting to pick it up a little bit, but again, a little too inconsistent with the charms. Dead Pocket trying to farm up. He has that Trinity Force and his Sword Boots, so he's going to be able to start putting down a little bit more consistent poke damage. This fight, this game rotating in the mid it's kind of interesting. What do you think, Doctor? Who do you think's got the advantage right now if they decide to group up and fight?
I'd give it a blue team. Ori decided not to finish her boots, instead picking up a needlessly large rod, and Lucian having this Infinity Edge, he's going to be putting out a lot more damage than this Corki on a solo target. Definitely in a bit more position. Obviously, if Ari lands a charm, then it could turn either way, but this Alistar is also nothing to laugh at right now.
And you see the top lane, Shinmilk hanging around with just very, very, very minimal mana. It's going to have to go B and probably use his teleport to go right back up there. They're both holding on to it right now. We'll see if he decides to burn that, and then what Aurelia does with that advantage. If she goes back and just immediately matches, or she decides to try and hold it for that next dragon fight that will be coming up. Ari throwing out a charm back in Kha'Zix, off the pink ward.
They get that pink, and are they going to try and bait it and see if he goes for this pink again? They show their hand, auto-attacking onto the Alistar. No real danger here, and blue team's going to realize that the pink ward's being protected.
Yeah, it's really hard to get in there and deny that vision if a team really wants to just protect it, because there's so many...
Pulverize misses, Charm also misses. Alistar throwing on his ultimate super late. Shockwave onto two people. Rengar's going to go down to the Orianna. However, Aurelia teleports in, so does Shinmilk. Shinmilk's putting down lots of damage. Ari picking up the double kill with the charm landing. Antfire sitting less than half health. Even 2v2.
All over a one-hit pink ward. And you saw there, Orianna doing a good job to pick up the kills with her Shockwave, but Aurelia coming in on the backside and then chasing in too deep into those bushes that we talked about where it warded. We're able to give over the double buffs and allow Ari to even up that fight. And on top of that, they're able to pick up the mid one of Delta. So they're going to be able to keep pressuring a little bit. No, it looks like they're just going to back off with the Rise rotating over. So overall, 2 for 2, but the red team's able to pick up a tower, evening out those towers, and honestly clawing them a little bit back in this game, only down 1.5k gold at 21 minutes. So definitely still in this. And Viva, I'm highly disappointed in you for trying to take a nap before the AVL.
Pink ward's going down across the map. It's a pink ward genocide here. Kha'Zix decides to keep the blue buff. Orianna either deciding she doesn't need it, or he just decided he wanted it more.
Interesting decision too on the 0-3 Kha'Zix, because just Snap's been pretty aggressive on his Orianna. He has a blue pot right now. With the Athens and the needlessly large rod, having the blue buff on him would definitely help out a lot. But going over the Kha'Zix, we'll just have to see if he's going to be able to keep that out of the hands of Ari and not give her another set of buffs.
Hook going out, lands. Ari jumping in, lands the charm. Also, Rengar's coming in. The flash from Jiznaf. Ebola Strike lands. Lots of damage coming out. Decides not to go for the Lantern, however. Porter decides not to follow up on the kill. Kha'Zix picking up the kill into Thresh, however. Bites off more than he can chew. Might go down here. No charm being killed. Dead Pocket being knocked up by the Pulverize, though. Heal coming out. Gets culled. And Soulcrafter very, very low.
Soulcrafter is making the plays right now on the cow. He definitely just said, you cannot milk those, and went absolutely ham, peeling out for the Orianna who got caught, was able to allow them to pick
dash in, Howard dashes into a charm, lots of damage, Ignite coming down, flash away, gonna try and lifesteal and pot up, but not quite enough. Last tick of Ignite, picking up that kill.
Really interesting decision right there. Dash almost in a vertical line right towards an Ari with her charm still up. I mean, she couldn't have missed that if she tried. He was standing next to her terrain. She had nowhere else to throw it. This is already starting to get very scary right now. 6-1-0, needs a large rod and a blasting wand, both being picked up. She's picking up pink wards for her team all over the place. She's gonna have her death cap and another 300 gold, so it looks like they're gonna try and group up around this dragon and keep control of it. Red team really needs this dragon.
Red team has the vision control for the most part. Alistar trying to clear out this ward, gets it, dodging the hook in the process. However, Ari, with her red trinket, going to clear out their ward as well, taking the lantern to safety. Both top laners coming down for this, but Aurelia is much closer than Ryze. They decide to pull it out a little bit. Don't want Kha'Zix jumping that wall. Culling coming out, no match for the smite. Red team gets the dragon. Pink ward being found. Red team doesn't quite want to defend this one as hard.
Yeah, but they don't really need to. The dragon brought them back into it in 400 gold, and if they're able to secure this blue buff and get out as a team, which it doesn't look like we're going to have a problem, they just need to rotate to mid, match this push, force everyone back in the lanes, and then the red team will be in a phenomenal place. Echoes managed to call themselves back in this game despite being down 4 kills.
Rune Prison coming out from Ryze onto Antfire, however, takes a tower shot for his troubles. The wave clear on red team, just putting in lots of work right now, and Filthy Nate going super low just from rockets. Hook just misses Shin Milk. Jiznef eats a rocket. Both teams are sort of hanging out.
And we'll see now.
Hook lands onto Kha'Zix. Flash. Charm lands as well. However, Ori's Shockwave lands onto just about nobody. Aurelia goes down to the Lucian. However, everybody on blue team super duper low. And Filthy Nate jumps back in. Hook lands onto Shinmilk. However, he picks up the kill onto the Ahri. And then Kha'Zix tastes Thresh for his fear. That made no sense. But you know what I mean. A 2 for 0.
That cast. That play-by-play was phenomenal. 10 out of 10.
That's gonna be the tower.
Yeah, and a lot of global go down. We saw that they had to respond to the push in the mid lane, but it was a really interesting decision deciding to go into that hook. As soon as the red team committed all into that fight, Alistar was able to go in, flash pulverize. Orianna was able to hit just 2 targets with her shockwave and zone the fight out a little bit. Granted, they weren't priority, but it put down enough damage where over the course of the sustained fight, with Ahri forced out and dead right away, and there's just no damage to match now. That's the pick potential we're talking about, but it can't be a pick in a straight-out open team fight. That's the exact area that Delta wants to be fighting in.
Rengar deciding to go for the Ravenous Hydra first item after the Feral Flare. Not what we typically see, what with having 0 armor pen. He can do nothing to Ryze at this point. Picking up his Frozen Heart, he's basically just going to ignore Rengar at every stage from now on.
Well, I don't think he's going to have the ability to kill the Orianna either. Honestly, I think Rengar is seriously handicapping his team at this point in time because he lost his opportunities to make plays early on in the game by just misplaying how he used his stacks and not using the right empowered abilities. That can just inherently lead to throwing yourself behind, and then when you're behind on Rengar, it becomes really hard to get back in the game because you go to jump on these squishy targets, and everyone starts getting away with 150, 200 HP, but that's not enough.
Lots of minions on the spot tower. Lands the charm, Orb Receptor coming out, auto attack from the Corki. Why am I saying all the wrong names tonight? That's 2 towers for basically free, and then some, picking up the kill onto Lucian in the process.
Yeah,
however,
really good job by Raz to actually get in there all the way with his double spirit rushes and able to hit that charm. And
they're now out of minions, however. A 2-man shockwave puts Rengar and Corki super duper low. Thresh lands the hook. A teleport coming out from this Aurelia, however, charm lands onto Cow. The flash dodging the rocket from Corki saves Kha'Zix's life, however, he's got to leave this fight. Foster's Farm picks up the kill onto the Orianna. Ahri charms Shinmilk right in the face. This fight is going terrible.
Doing whatever he wants.
No more damage reduction for the Cow. However, Lucian has spawned and is coming back. Charm lands onto the Cow. Flashes into a pulverize. Auto attack from Antfire is going to pick up that kill. A 4 for 2 from coming out from the red team, and now they have another minion wave right in perfect
And they
place.
actually just went ahead in gold. They're now up 200 gold, and will they be able to burn down this tower really quickly? They have still 10 seconds.
The culling is off cooldown. If Lucian went hard, he could try for a kill here.
No, he's just going to give it up. So what happened in that fight? Corki got left alone. He was able to pick up a blue buff, and at that point, the missile barrage and the phosphorus bomb just rained down. He sat back in that bush, but he was in an area that was just completely untouched and unwarded. There's no way they could have walked up through that, and with Aurelia TPing back in on the backside, she was just able to plant herself in the fight and say, good luck trying to get to Corki. The two-man shockwave from Orianna was brilliant to start the fight, but they shouldn't have kept chasing down. As soon as they saw Corki pick up a kill, they needed to disengage from that situation. And a phenomenal play, too, by the Aurelia right there at the end to just dash back in an equilibrium strike with the last of her mana to pick up that stun. Just doing a phenomenal job keeping her team in this game after basically being handicapped all lane phase by Rengar, giving up that 2 kills and double buffs early.
Headbutt Pulve lands onto this Thresh. Shinmilk just gets in range, throws out the Rune Prison, shield coming out. Corki decides to show up and scare him away. Pink Ward in that bush. The regular ward going down there. Charm misses. Blue team wants this red buff. Two-man Shockwave, however, just not really in a bad position. A two-man, a double. Fluster Flame lands on a 3. Headbutt throws Aurelia over the wall, keeps her safe. However, Shinmilk picking up the kill onto the Ahri on the backside. Justnef survived even after Flash sombreroing himself. Really, this blue buff's still under contention. Corki has one, however, Rise takes that one away. Dragon now in their sights. They get the tower in the top lane thanks to minions. Pink ward going down. Either they don't see the ward or they're trying to ignore it for the Dragon. Dragon going down. Hook lands on a Shinmilk. Phosphorus Bomb misses. Rune Prison lands onto the Corki. Shinmilk wants this, but he's taking a lot of damage. Aurelia's not where he wants to be. Flash from Shinmilk. Rune Prison keeps him down. Antfire going in, gets exhausted, tries to Blade Surge away. Shinmilk going super duper low, however, he lives with just 10 health. And Lucian picks up the kill onto Aurelia.
Phenomenal job there by Shinmilk, really weaving in and out of the fight. Corki doing a great job staying on the edge and putting down as much damage as possible, but there's only so much he's able to do. And really, Rengar at this point just needs to abandon building all damage and just build full tag and create a tank line for this Ahri and the Corki. He's going to be all the damage. Aurelia has all the damage she needs with the Triforce, and that's going to be the only way they're going to win this game. They're down about another 3.5k gold after giving up that Dragon, and they really, really, really need to focus on just trying to pick people up and keeping up the wards. They need to invest a lot more in wards, and as you see, that's what they're starting to do. 2 green wards by the Aurelia, 1 from Rengar, 1 from Corki. Of course, Thresh with a Sightstone and a pink in tow as well. We'll see if the red team can't keep those wards up and move that out there. On the flip side of that, blue team needs more wards. All they have right now is the bot side of Echo's jungle warded, and that's just not good enough. They only have vision really in 3 bushes, and that's just not going to provide them the necessary information for how they need to move around the map in order to be safe from the pick potential of Echo at this point in time.
Alistar getting some deep wards down and the ward onto the Baron pit. Blue team all grouping up towards this top side of the map. Thresh just now leaving base, and Aurelia looking like she wants to go back after that wave. Or not. She's just going to keep pushing. Vision Wars fighting around the Baron pit. Jishnaf and Soulcraft are just going to hang out, see who shows up, looking for a pick.
Yeah, the thing is, the Echo knows they don't have to go anywhere near that. They don't want anything to do with going with that Baron. They have it warded, they have vision, and there they go. The Echo's just going to run bot lane. They're going for the in-hit. They say, fuck the Baron, we're going for the base.
Showing everybody bot, however, they're going to have to get more than this in-hit.
They could have done that with just Rengar going stealth through the jungle. There's no vision on that side of the map for Delta, and now everyone on Delta is just going to go base. So Echo's going to get an inhib, but it's the bottom side, but you want the bot side inhib in order to go pressure Baron.
Delta Aurelia might get this top tower, but Rise is ulting over there trying to stop her. She's going to give up on the tower and run away. However, she's probably going to die Nope, just running away.
Just be able to run that one out. No problem with the Merc.
Charm lands on Alistar. Lantern away to safety.
Yep, so interesting decision. The Baron gives the blue team a lot more immediate gold and immediate teamfight power. But, I mean, yes, you get more pressure on the map from having that inhib open, but that inhib's only going to be open as long as Delta has this Baron. So it's not like they're going to be able to act on it. If they can get a pick and maybe clear the Baron off of somebody important and then fight 4v5, that would be a different scenario. But all they just effectively did was put themselves down another 1,500 gold.
I mean, the inhib does sort of keep that in the back of blue team's mind so that they can't push as hard as they might normally without giving that bot lane thought now. Because they could lose base Nexus towers for not that much, considering all tier 2 towers are still up for red team.
Yeah, it'll definitely add additional pressure on the map, but Rise with Teleport can just feel free to sit down there, farm away, while the rest of Delta roams around as a group of 4, and I don't think that even with a clean 4v5, they could be able to win that fight before Rise gets in.
That being said, blue team backs off, trying to get that red buff for Lucian, looking to set up a fight now. Dragon's up in a minute and a half, and red team currently has the vision control there.
Red team currently has the vision control of the map. Blue team only has about 3 wards down, whereas red has close to 8, 9, including 2 pinks over by the dragon area. So red definitely in control of the vision, knows what's in the fog and what's out there, which is how they're going to win this game. We talked about the pick-off and how they had to play if they wanted to be successful. They're definitely doing the right kinds of things in order to stay in this game, despite being down 5k gold, and having really been giving up the kill lead over the course of the whole game. The real question is, how can the blue team effectively go about ending the game? They really need to get more wards on the map. That's step 1. If they're not able to deny this vision and somewhat control their own vision, I mean, let's face it, they have no wards in their own jungle. Yes, they have wards into some of the entrances, but there's still so many ways the red team would be able to slide into a bush and just randomly catch somebody out going for a buff, thinking they're safe. And meanwhile, you have to constantly remember that they have those super minions down there, so it's not like they're going to be able to just freely roam out and go looking to deny that vision.
Blue team spotting out the red team, setting up for dragon. Looking like they're still going to hang out in that same bush, where the Ahri is anyway. No blue wards coming down anywhere even near the dragon. That red team's just going to start it, and they're probably going to finish it very soon. Ward coming out. Kha'Zix jumping in, misses the smite, eats a hook and a phosphor farm, lots of damage coming down, flash being forced out. Big one landing on the 3 teammates on the blue team. They're chasing it. Meanwhile, Aurelia's in that top lane, still pushing away.
Yeah, and the teleport is up from Rise, but he doesn't want to have to use it to match him because then Aurelia can just jump right back down the team. So she's going to go ahead and grab that top tower, no problem. And it looks like red team is going to try and force a fight.
However, Charm lands onto Alistar, Orb of Deception hitting both ways. Headbutt Pulve onto the Thresh, but the Shockwave only landing on 1. Double teleports coming out. Aurelia's going to come in first. Ultimate from Alistar. Aurelia jumps right on. Box coming down. Shinmilk lands in the box too. Ahri going in hard, landing Charms and Orbs of Deception. Shinmilk half health in the middle of the team. However, 4 members getting knocked up by the Pulverize. Kha'Zix getting the resets, jumps over and gets taken down by the Overload. A clean ace
Lucian,
for 1.
Lucian was left pretty much untouched. After Aurelia's first Blade Search to Equilibrium Strike onto Lucian, he was completely untouched for the rest of the fight and just able to hammer away, do as much damage as possible.
They get that. They get the tier 2 tower, but they lost the inhib for a second time.
Yeah, which is really, really, really poor on their part. Honestly, they should have recognized that they could have sent somebody back a little bit earlier to clean that up. Honestly, it's just, I don't want to say it's a careless mistake because they were able to pick up the ace and obviously their priorities were somewhere else. But it's unfortunate because they're going to lose a lot of pressure on the map after just picking up that ace.
Blue buff going over to Orianna. Baron's up in a minute. Whoever can get this next Baron will have a huge amount of pressure on this map. And with the bot inhib down for blue team, they're going to have to really play this properly.
Yeah, this is definitely their chance right now to try and get as much vision over in that area as possible. While those super minions are going to start stacking up, blue team is going to have to respond within the next 90 seconds or so. That's going to start really pushing down towards that Nexus start, which means red team's going to be able to set up their zone of vision, really know where the blue team's trying to come in. They'll know where Delta's trying to insert. You see the sweepers and the pink ward coming out, denying all that freshly paced vision, all the wards they just bought. You don't see any more in the inventories, as well as only one trinket ward being available. They have to fight Suit-ish. Remember, there's no teleport on Rise, so you can't sit down that bot lane. All Echo needs to do is just sit and posture around this Baron and wait. If they can do that effectively, then they'll have won it. They can't afford to back off right now. This is a really, really poor decision on their part to go clear this top wave, because in all reality, they just walked up there and gave up their vision control to not even clear the wave.
That being said, Lucian and Ryze are both heading bot just as the Baron spawn, and recalls coming in from the rest of the team. Red team really could force this down right now. Charm lands and messes up the Pulverize. Pulverize not going down. Ultimate being forced out super early. That could be the Baron.
Right away, and that definitely should be the Baron right now. I mean, you see the super minion stack in the bot wave. There's another one coming up. He's just going to clear that out. Ryze isn't going to be able to just stand there and tank that. The super minions are going to start to hurt him and do serious damage, and he won't be able to teleport in. And that's going to be the Baron going over to Echo.
Blue team realized they couldn't fight it at that point, backed off, cleared out the mid wave to sort of even it out there. But now red team's going to be able to take that gold, buy another item set, and then try and force something in the mid lane with the last couple seconds of that inhibiting.
And again, despite an 11 kill lead, a 5k gold lead, it really seems like Echo is able to control the flow of the map right now.
And really that all started with the first inhib trade for the Baron.
Yeah, I would say that definitely helped out in getting the pick, and it just, in all reality, it was only set up because of the secondary trade, and who would have thought being aced in teamfight would be your key to getting control over a game.
Shinmilk using Home Guard to sort of scare them off the tower, loses his Banshees for it, but I'd say he won that. However, still super minions in this top lane.
And there's a notification for the inhib coming up, so no more supers are going to be coming out after that. So just these last two to clean out for Lucian, which means a little bit more pressure from Echo.
Rune Prison landing onto Ahri. However, Pulverize only lands onto Antfire. Gets knocked back into tower. Exhaust going down on him. Filthy Nate super low. Two-man Shockwave landing on Thresh and Aurelia. Aurelia taking down the Kazakhs. However, Lucian takes down the Aurelia. Shinmilk picking up the kill on the Thresh. Headbutt landing Ahri back into the tower. Porter not doing anything in this fight. Flash Rune Prison onto Dead Pocket. It's gonna get taken down. Complete ace. Again.
Yeah, and the ace coming out, but you need to be aware. You see that inhib in the bot lane with the super on it. That's going to go down for the third time.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe nope. Orianna's able to draw.
Nope, it does go down.
It goes down for the third time. And however, it looks like Delta's going to be able to match it with an inhibitor of their own in the mid lane. Huge minion wave here as soon as Lucian puts that up. And honestly, right now, if I had to have an MVP, I would say Soul Crusher's Alistar. He is just making play after play after play, peeling away for his team, for his carries, hitting the right pulverizers, knocking people back in the turrets. I mean, it has been just an absolute pleasure to watch. Honestly, everyone, if you look at the assist numbers coming across, they only have 30 kills. But
with Thresh being the only one up, they might be able to get this. A delayed flay, however, throws them both back, and they decide to sort of move on and go back to base.
Yeah, and only one pair of home runs coming out, so no, or two pair of home runs coming out, no real chase. But you see, as we talked about before, Delta has 30 kills right now, but you look at their assists, they have 24, 47, 58, 78, 79 assists right now on 30 kills. That's teamwork. Defined.
Culling coming out. Charm lands onto Soulcrafter. Ruined Prison lands onto the Ari. They want this fight. Talisman goes in. Hook lands onto nobody. Box coming down. Doesn't land onto anybody either. Shinmilk getting taken down. And Soul Crusher being taken down by the Ari. Flash coming out of the Lucian. Keeps him safe. Flash from Dead Pocket also to get away from the Orianna.
Yeah, and Orianna doing a good job on the back of the fight to really zone out that Corki, make sure he couldn't get in on that. The Unbreakable Will from Alistar was able to kind of cut out the damage, but Rengar was able to get in enough, just tank enough, actually popped his heal for once, got down his additional stats, was just able to sit in there and soak that up. And you see now, Echo's just trying to force this mid-2 turret. They need to be careful though if Orianna decides to lock up and Shockwave. And it looks like they're just going to take that away for free, so again.
However, Blade Surge onto the Orianna gets completely blown up.
And that's a 70-second death timer for the Orianna, and that's a lot of wave clear. Echo might be able to just ride this game out. They might be able to tank through this tower.
Lock of Solari keeping him alive.
Thresh, they're gonna get that. And remember, inhibitor is down as well in the bottom lane. They cannot contest this. That's gonna be 2 inhibitors for Echo coming out. So a really, really, really good job right there, catching them out after that dragon fight.
Another big wave stacking onto this top tower, though. That's probably going to go down. It does go down.
Yeah, but it's okay. I'll take the crit. Getting
2 towers and a
mid and yeah, definitely worth. And you see, again, down 7k gold, but up in turrets, and in all reality, it looks up in inhibitors. So the map pressure coming out is going to be insane, and all of these champions right now are starting to get towards full build. So the gold difference are starting to matter less and less. I mean, you see Aurelia; she is just a tanky monster with a whole bunch of stats coming out onto her. She has just so much of everything: gap closer, CDR, armor, magic resist, true damage. Like, whew. And eventually Rengar might be helpful on top of this. So
I'm Rengar, I'm helping.
He gets a Sunfire, now all of a sudden he's actually doing something because he has this, kind of has that Shyvana effect almost, where you have to do something to him because eventually he's going to kill you. Like, yeah, he's not really anything, but he's running around doing so much magic damage in the area around him and that little attack damage that, yeah, you have to hit him.
I mean, he does have that Ebola strike to try and lock someone down with the Ari Charm.
Well, at this point, building the Spirit Vision in there would almost be ineffective to do that, and it looks like he actually decided to skip going for the Sunfire camp and just buy a Randuin's instead. So, interesting decision on that part. I thought Sunfire would have been much more effective for him in terms of how he's playing and what his team needs him to be doing. He's been jumping around trying to get into those lines, and that extra AoE damage, especially since he has a Spirit Vision, is going to be focusing on using his Battle Roar anyway. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that he would get Randuin's, especially when Aurelia has one anyway.
Mid inhibitor respawned for red team, bot inhibitor respawned for blue team. Red team looked like they wanted to get that top tower. However, Flash, Ruined Prison picking up the Ari, another Overload picks up the kill. That was a great headbutt pulve combo there. Randuin being popped by Soulcrafter. The Flash coming out of Portsnath, a missing Shockwave, however. Exhaust onto Antfire, Pulverize landing, Hook missing, Flash from Antfire is going to keep him safe for a little bit. Box coming out, going to slow him down a little bit, but Soulcrafter still wants this.
Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get it, but they're going to be able to get the inhibitor. Can they take anything else, though? Their inhibitor in the bot lane is off, so they don't have to worry about the super stacking down there. In fact, they have a slow push wave that's going to shove for them. They're just going to try and take down...
Looks like they're going to try and finish.
But there's no minions here. This is a
Shinmilk's tanking tower. A good headbutt pulve onto 2 members there. Double kill for the Lucian. Flash is coming out of bounds.
We were talking about, and look at the death timer. 65 seconds right now on the Aurelia. There goes one. Look at the second. The super minion's doing a little bit of damage right now to Delta, but they don't really seem to care.
Hook lands on the Soulcrafter, but no real threat here. Yeah. Ruined Prison coming out. Heal coming out also, however. Shockwave coming up just in the nick of time. That's a kill
Wow,
for
that was a
Oriana.
phenomenal game. That was a great game by both teams. I mean, look at those assist numbers. Jesus. I'm really impressed with Soul Crusher's hours for that game. I thought he played phenomenally.
That was really well played.
All right, let's see. Oh, there's Jabber.
What a game.
I know, right? You were watching with Pixel and Mofo Blaster?
I was just watching the stream in general, and all in all, it was a very, very close game throughout the entire thing. I was really impressed by both teams.
Nice. What's one thing you thought that Echo did well?
Echo was blue side, right?
No, Echo was purple side.
Echo was purple. Their comp was a little bit. Well, now that I think about it, there was this one instance where I saw it was of course the fight where they were just about to rush towards the blue side, the purple blues base. It was on bot towers around like 46 minutes, and where Ari was completely isolated. So that just gave a blue team just a free go ahead, like, hey, let's go in. She's isolated from her other team. So honestly, they had good map rotations. They had good ward placements. The only thing that I feel like they could have done just a little bit better was being more grouped up, because there wasn't really that much tank. Aurelia was monstrous, of course, but the Rengar basically did no damage. I didn't really see him impact lanes that much because, it's in a Kha'Zix versus Rengar matchup. Either of those teams can snowball their lanes and just get them really ahead. The good thing that Echo did do was keeping map pressure through bot lane and keeping the wards on the map. So if they just executed more on team fights a little bit better, I feel like they could have walked away with that game easily. But then again, you got to think with the blue team's team comp, they were more suited for the big 5v5 team fights with the cow ball into the shockwave into the Kha'Zix resets, and just Lucian staying in the backline with the calling and dishing out so much damage. That was it was just impressive overall.
Yeah, very well played by both teams. Looking at the gold graph, blue team definitely had the advantage for the entire game. There was one little stint where red team got a few towers in a row and looked like they were on this take back, but then they lost the dragon, they lost the baron, they lost some more team fights, and the gold just skyrocketed after that for blue side. There was no real comeback to be had there. Alistar, not only was he a god in those team fights, but putting out 53 wards out of the game. He had half of either team, whichever one you're looking at, and just gave the vision control his team needed to come back and just do what they needed to do.
Yeah, honestly, I was really impressed by Soul Crusher that game. I thought he did a really, really, really good job.